All right. Welcome to the Doc Talk podcast. Dr. Bob Rakowski here with Dr. Paul Charlton out of Toronto, Canada. I've had the joy of knowing Dr. Paul pretty well for about a decade, and we met even before then. But what I got to tell you, he's one of the most heart-centered, competent, passionate leaders in the chiropractic profession. His patients absolutely love him. And I might just start out with, that'd be kind of a humble thing to have for a guy like you to answer, but why do they love you so much? What's going on? What's your secret sauce here?
Dr. Bob, thanks for having me on the call. Here's a short story for you. I remember my public school was having its 50th year celebration, and I attended the event, and my grade 6 teacher was there. And here I am. I think I was about 50 years old at the time, and I went up and I introduced myself, and he actually remembered me. It says, Paul Charlton, you used to like to help people. How he came up with that, I have no idea. But that's the impression that I left with him way back when I was in grade 6 with his class. So, and I love to help people, and it's from the heart, and it brings me joy, and it helps when I see a smile on a patient's face, then I know I've done a good job. So, and you're the same way, Dr. Bob. Don't be shy. So.
Well, hey, listen, but you haven't kept it just to that. I see you helping people every opportunity, right? And what a beautiful way to get there. And we'll go with Zig Ziglar. We can have everything in life we want if we just help enough other people. And people want a helping hand when it's there. So what's your top clinical pearl? If someone's going to come to Dr. Paul, what do they see? What do you do that's different, that's going to make a bigger, stronger, faster difference?
Well, the first thing that I see in the healthcare world is that the medical profession, they're overwhelmed, and I think what's missing is they're not listening. My father is was a medical doctor, and I remember going on house calls with my father way back when, and I remember sitting with him and observing, and my dad would ask a question, they'd answer, he'd think about it, he'd shake his head, he'd ask another question, and the answer wasn't, my dad wasn't cutting them off and asking more questions right away. He digested the information so that they knew loud and clear that they were heard. And if that's one thing that my father gave me, is that, the ability to listen, and people are heard in my office. And, do I help everyone? No, I don't, but I do my very best to help them find the right answer for them. So I guess that's the best answer is we listen. And that's a beautiful skill to obtain. And I think it's a lost art, quite frankly, in our healthcare system.
Oh, maybe even life. I think about that. There's a quote that, when you genuinely and sincerely listen to someone, they often perceive it as love. And couldn't it be, right? If you're giving someone your undivided attention with a positive spin on it, maybe that's some level of love where we could call it. So that probably is the secret sauce. Yeah. We could go back to Stoic wisdom. You got 2 ears, 1 mouth, use it in that proportion. Now let's go with, besides listening, besides connecting, getting that heart to heart, and they really understand that you care. Now what's your next hierarchy? How are you going to help that patient get better?
Like you, I love applied kinesiology, and it's a gift. And you've probably heard many times, you're like a magician. How come, the other fellows missed it, or the other practitioners missed it? And it just, the body doesn't lie. It has answers. It will give you answers if you ask it the right questions. And you have to take the time to understand the individual. You have to understand where they're coming from, the history, which you do an excellent job of. And I love to do a history. I love to do the exam. And you look for what's working, what's not working. Whatever's not working, you get it working. And you do your best to get it working. And we do that very, very well. And patients are very, very satisfied. And I don't know about you, but it's funny. Another story for you. I treat this one girl who's in social media, and I guess it was about 10 years ago. And she goes, Dr. Paul, I want to do a project on your website, but you don't have one. That's 10 years ago. And I said, well, 99% of my patients are really referred, so I really don't need one. Well, you should get one. I said, well, okay, well, I'll get one as a business card, but if you do a good job, then patients are going to refer. And that's what happens in our practice. 95 to 98% of our patients are referred into the clinic. So I'm very, very grateful for that. So I must be doing something right after 30 some odd years.
Well, you can't beat that, and that's so fascinating. One of my great mentors years ago was asked the question, how can I help more people? And he started out by saying, help the people you got more, make that deep connection. And when then people are really, really satisfied. I was talking to someone else about a book on customer service.
Yeah.
And here was a key line from that. It said, our goals is not to please or satisfy our customers. They expect that. Our goal is to amaze them. And when you amaze them, they tell their friends, they come back, and life is good. You're a master storyteller, and you have stories from your patients. Yeah. I want you to tell the bikini story. So you were about to give a talk, and it was a talk that could have been infinite, right? There was so much that you could have said. So what advice did she give you?
Well, good old Mrs. Innes, who I saw last week, God love her. She's 95-year-old, retired English woman, very tough as nails, principal, patient. And, she lives in the local retirement home. She takes a cab into the office on her own. She gets her walker. She comes into my office and I work on her hip. And I was telling her that I was doing a talk in Houston and I needed some advice. And at 95-year-olds, ask 95-year-olds their wisdom, I'll tell you. And she goes, well, it sounds like you're going to have to do the Bikini Talk, in a beautiful English accent. And I said, what is the Bikini Talk? And she goes, oh, it's rather quite simple, actually. You give enough information to cover all the essential parts. So I hope that I did that. And I see the joke did land well. So I was happy with that as well.
So what would be the essential parts of chiropractic care, of natural medicine, of functional medicine?
Yeah. Again, I grew up in a medical family, so I was surrounded by medicine, and I always thought deep down it wasn't really what I wanted, and I'm sensing that with patients as well. They don't want medical answers. They want natural cures. They want, what can I do for myself? What can I do to get better so I can perform better? I do want to do the things that I love to do. And I know that if I can do that by working on their structure and by their insides, then I know that it can be a game changer with some simple strategies, which I've seen many, many, many times.
So what's your favorite simple strategy to get the inside working better?
Well, I'm a big fan of the Organo brand of Reishi-infused coffee. It's actually funny. I've got a poster in my office right in front of my workbench, my chiropractic table. And it explains what acidic coffee does and alkaline coffee, such as Reishi coffee. And they usually ask, and they say, well, what's with the coffee, doc? What does it do? And I said, well, there's some samples in the office. You may want to try a cup on the way out, and why don't you let me know? And sure enough, the stories I hear are pretty impactful and pretty funny. So I had this minister come in and he goes, about that coffee. I said, yeah. And he goes, it's different. I feel different. I've had many, many testimonials, skin conditions, clearing up. I've had sleep patterns changing for the better. Just a phenomenal home run product. It's another arrow in my quiver of health options to help my patients. They don't have to be in the office to do it. They can take it at home. They can consume it at home. And I had a patient in last week saying, true story, where this patient came in that she had bought a box the week prior, but ended up giving some to her friend. And then she said, well, can I have the box? And she took a box. So she came in and bought another box. So people will buy not what they need, but what they want. And they want good quality healthcare coffee. And that's what I have discovered. So it's my little hack. There's another.
I mean, that is absolutely a phenomenal biohack.
Yeah.
And let's face it, the world does drink coffee or tea, but you said something that is so powerful that I want to capitalize on it for people that are watching, especially if they're new doctors. Words don't teach, experiences do. So experiences do, experiences does. I don't know if Isa needs to edit that or not, but words don't teach. They've got to feel it. They've got to experience it. They've got to know what it does for them. And that was the best answer. Hey, why don't you take some and let me know how that works?
Yeah.
What if we do that with every aspect of our care? So to what degree do you do that with patients? Do you give them some level of certainty or some realization that the correction you're about to attempt is in their best interest? Do you have a way of sharing that with them?
I think it comes across in the exam. Actually, it starts right there. Like, I don't know, when you examine someone, there's patterns that you pick up and that you see. And usually it's kind of like a game that I'll play with a patient, and I say, okay, this test here, I'm going to be testing the strength of this muscle based on what I see and what I hear. I think this is good, may be weak or maybe strong. What do you think? and I know it's going to be weak, and it's weak. And sure enough, they go, what, holy smokes. Right. And I said, okay, then I just have fun that way. And when you know that you're competent in the exam, then they've got confidence, and they'll do whatever it takes to get better. They say, yeah, please, let's do it. I've never had anyone, I can't think of anyone that said, no, I don't want care. I can't think of anyone in 30 some odd years. There's that trust that's developed during the exam and the on-take and the on-board and the experience in the office. There's something in people's guts that will tell you if you're in the right place or not. And I sense I do that very well in my office.
Well, I know that you do, but let's build on that again, because we have people that may just be getting started. Mm-hmm. So you have an extreme advantage, 95 to 97, 98% being referred. So they're already coming in expecting good things.
Yes.
They walk in, you've got a warm, beautiful, pleasant office, a great staff. They're going to get a nice smile from you, some level of certainty. You could be an intimidating soul. I mean, you play hockey. I'm sure you've hit a few people and took some hits, but yet even with that said, they know they're in good hands. And then you make that level of connection. You start showing them in a way they hadn't been looked at before, something they've never seen. And not only do you find something that's off, but you immediately build a bridge to the correction. Mm-hmm. And that may just be the secret sauce for anybody wanting to build, regardless of technique.
Mm-hmm. And, and for anyone starting off, one of the biggest pieces of advice I can give you is follow up. When a patient comes in, they're usually acute or coming into the office, in my office anyway. A little phone call after a session on your first session goes a long way. And I've had many, many, many patients say to me, I knew I was in the right office when you called me. It was out of concern. It's on your own time. I give my personal number as well to patients, and they honor it. They don't abuse it. So, go above and beyond, deliver more, do more, and that will be the secret sauce to having success in practice over time. And just be authentic, do your best, and they will pick that up as well.
And I'll have to think of who said this first, but if you never do more than you get paid for, you never get paid for more than you do.
Yeah.
And wouldn't we all like to get paid for more than we do? And there's other ways to do that, right? Mm-hmm. So you keep getting referrals. Yep. Then you have nutrition, right? Yep. That's gonna, that could be repeat sales.
Yeah. There's 3 profit centers in my office, and probably for most chiropractors, there's the chiropractic skills that we deliver, we get paid on. There's ancillary services. I've got massage therapy in my office, so we get residual income or profits on that as well. And then nutrition. And, I talk about the Reishi coffee, hands down, that is, I'm not going to share numbers, but it generates more profit than my 3 massage therapists per year. So, it's something that you want to consider. It's also a nice upgrade for the experience with patients when they come into the office. I had a gentleman, I was at the front desk, and he took a sip of the coffee, and when you make that slurpy sound, he goes, man, that's good. Everyone in the room got up from the waiting room and went and made themselves a cup of coffee. And, when I've got stickies on the boxes of the product behind my staff, and I asked my staff one day, what are with the stickies? And she goes, well, so-and-so called and they said, reserve a box of product for them when they come in for their appointment. So, the product is pretty powerful when it does that. Not many people reserve fish oils or vitamin C or vitamin D, but, we have those and we offer them and we encourage them, but there's been no better product in my entire chiropractic experience than the Reishi-infused coffees, hands down. End of story.
So let's compare and contrast. Like most people could see, okay, if I have some type of coffee, tea in my waiting area, people are going to enjoy the visit more. We even have people coming in early, but now contrast that. Let's say there's a great chiropractor walking. He says, I got my Keurig and I run hot water through this plastic container. Tell me about that. Compare the two. How would you, how are you going to talk to that doc and say, that might not be the best idea?
I personally, I'm a little bit more environmentally friendly than that. And those plastic cups don't resonate with me. I've never had that. So I don't understand that. I care about Mother Earth a little bit. So we have individual sachets that we recycle, which we're very grateful we can do. And, what nutritional benefit are they getting? Yes, there's some benefit to coffee. We know that. But why not have an upgraded experience? And why not just elevate your game? I don't want to play out of 5 out of 10. I want to play at a 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10. And if the research is there, that's proven there, what the ingredients do in the coffee, then why wouldn't I do that? It's a simple upgrade that's going to make you better, perform better. And what you've got to lose? You're a coffee drinker or a tea drinker anyway. So make the switch and see what it does for you.
Well, now let's compare the repeat sales of that to maybe any other service within your office or any other business for that matter.
Yeah, repeat sales, it's very, very strong. And, even I do put an email out before Christmas, and an email blast to my patients, and I give a % off on the product. And it's my hands down number one, from a financial perspective, generating revenue email in my office. To be honest with you, it's ridiculous. It's a box of coffee, and Dr. Bob, you've been to my office, but I have a Starbucks literally 3 to 4 parking spots away from the front door of my office. I have a Starbucks Reserve right across the street, where if you want to pay $8 to $12 a coffee or whatever it is, then you're crazy. But my little coffee station and my little cozy chiropractic clinic at Chiropractic Works does very, very well. Thank you very much. All
right. Now I'm going to give you a couple scenarios. You're still in school, and I want you to give advice to that person, a brand new grad. Yep. And then now maybe someone who's been in practice for a while, but they hit a lull. I want you to give advice to those 3 people. Let's start with the student. Okay, so I've got a year left in chiropractic college. What are you going to tell me?
Boy, that was a fun time. I know that you're burnt out, you're stressed, the lights at the end of the tunnel, you can see it coming, but I encourage you just to start trying the product. It'll help you stay focused. It will do some wonderful things for your sleep pattern, for all the stress. It's got a herb of spiritual immortality in it. I highly recommend you just consume the product. Get comfortable with the product. You will not refer a product unless you believe in the product. So just don't promote it. Just get on the product. It's a great, great product to be part of. For the veteran or the mildly seasoned veteran out there, have you ever considered maybe having another profit center and helping your patients? Put a coffee station in your office. It's not going to hurt you. You probably have something similar, or have one of those Keurig that Dr. Bob was just mentioning, or a water station. Just try it. Initially I was a little bit nervous having a coffee station in, because I was thinking, what would patients think? But are you kidding me? It was a home run. I wish I'd done it 10 years earlier. So, and I'm sure I have a lot of practitioners thinking the same thing. And for the veteran who thinks that they know it all and they're too old to change, you can't teach an old dog a new trick. Well, I got news for you. People are going to enjoy coffee, whether you're an old dog, a new dog, or a young dog. So why don't you make it about the other person, not just about yourself? Put it in your office, try it out. What have you got to lose? It's just coffee, and it's a fabulous product to bring into your office.
Well, me, you, and Brad Pitt were born in the same year. So, on some level, you could call all of us old dogs in that respect. But reality is, it's really not a new trick. It's a better choice. And what I might suggest, while we're on that topic, my primary concern wasn't the coffee. It was people getting burned with the water, right? Because of that McDonald's thing. But hey, that's easy enough. Every water boiler we've used has been childproof, and we've never had an issue with that. So how do you get around that challenge?
Good point. My coffee boiler is actually very, very high, so little hands can't reach the spout. So, okay. And we have a nice little warning label right in front of the coffee boiler, caution, hot. Right? So hopefully they can read, and hopefully they can't reach, but or my staff will make it for them if they have a challenge. We've got some patients in walkers, and I don't want them going over making coffee. My staff will do that for them. So you have to use your intelligence on that one for sure.
All right. So Dr. Paul, I want to kind of summarize. One, your secret sauce is listening and love, and actually getting that patient to know. And I'll paraphrase or repeat what was said years ago. People don't care how much you know till they know how much you care.
Yes.
And that's the first message they get from you. Second thing is offer things a little better than what people are already doing. And why not give them a better option that people are doing every single day? Instead of maybe moving their body in the wrong direction, they can move it in the right direction, a better direction. What's your favorite story about that? What's your favorite turnaround that you've seen just from someone making a change to a healthier choice like our Reishi-infused coffee and tea?
Oh, geez, I've had people that have been in wheelchairs and are able to get up and move. Just with a little bit of conservative care and encouragement and patience and dedication from the patient as well. We do 80% of the work in the beginning, but I expect them to do 80% pretty quickly. So in a partnership, you can make dramatic changes, but you have to also get the patient open to accepting that changes are possible. And I think a very wise man by the name of Dr. Bob Rakowski said something to me. He said, never fall in love with your diagnosis. So I use that quite a bit. So thank you for that. And, even on my email, at the very bottom of my emails I send to my patients, I put here, no time for your health today, no health for your time tomorrow. And that's by
Wow.
Theo. And that's so true. That's so
Yeah.
true. So make some decisions. Health is a decision. Choosing to have a great life is a decision. Make the decisions. Don't get stuck in a pity party of peanut butter and woe's me. Make the decision to change your life. It's up to you. The world is beautiful. There's so much beauty in it. It's just up to you to open your eyes and allow that beauty to come in and experience that beauty. So yes, there's going to be peanut butter all over life, but no way. Don't choose that. Don't choose that road. So
beautiful. What's the best way for people to get a hold of you?
Well, Chiropractic Works is located in Toronto, Ontario, and 416-385-2855 or Doc Paul C on Instagram. Check us out. Throw me some
Doc Paul C. That's going to be DOCPAULC at Instagram. Right? And do you have a website now? Did you get that website finally?
Yeah, we did. It's called chiropracticworks.ca.
All right, there it is.
Yeah.
All right, Dr. Paul. Well, you know what? If you're anywhere in that part of the world and you haven't had the benefit of phenomenal chiropractic care, natural medicine, you want a delicious cup of coffee, call Dr. Paul and he and his staff will take epic care of you.
Well, we appreciate you, Dr. Bob, and what you bring to the value of the world. You're an inspiration, and I thank you for allowing me onto the podcast and sharing some thoughts from my perspective. So thank you for that.